The second of three children born on March 6, 1937, in a village in western Russia, she was only 2 years old when her father had died fighting in World War II. She was then raised by her widowed mother, who had came to her for help raising her other siblings once she was old enough. She began a job at a textile mill. Between supporting her family, working, and continuing her education, she learned how to parachute in her free time, which led her to becoming the first woman to be launched into space. Valentina Tereshkova was a part of the Soviet cosmonaut aboard Vostok 6 on June 16, 1963, when she became the first woman to travel to space. First, I will discuss the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States. Secondly, I will discuss her launch into space. And lastly, I will discuss her career after her space mission. There was a great space race between the Soviet Union and the United States to see who would be sent to space first. The Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, allowing them to be the first to launch someone into space. After that, they were then determined to launch the first woman into space. 4 women were chosen to become cosmonauts, but only Valentina Tereshkova went into space. Tereshkova was well equipped to handle one of the most challenging procedures throughout this Vostok space mission. This was the mandatory ejection from the spacecraft to Earth about 20,000 feet apart during re-entry. Despite the success of Tereshkova being launched into space, it wasn't until 19 years later that the Soviet Union would launch another woman into space. The United States did not launch a woman into space until 1983. Tereshkova orbited the Earth 48 times in 71 hours. That's about 3 days. As she was launched into space, she called out, "Hey Sky, take your hat, I'm on my way." She was a part of the second dual flight of the Vostok 5 and 6 flight program, involving 2 different spacecrafts. They had different orbits, but came about 3 miles apart, allowing them to have brief communication. Tereshkova's spacecraft was guided by an automatic control, and she had no manual control of her spacecraft. Once she returned home from her voyage, she attended military school, where she graduated and became an aerospace engineer. In 2015, the spacecraft Vostok 6 was displayed as a part of an exhibit at the Science Museum in London for the cosmonaut's birth of the space age. Tereshkova attended the opening and spoke very lovingly about her spacecraft, calling it her best friend and her best beautiful man. Tereshkova was a part of the Soviet Union and was launched into space as the first woman ever, and will be known for that in history forever. First, I had just discussed the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States. Secondly, discussed Tereshkova's launch into space. And lastly, I discussed Tereshkova's career afterwards. This is Tereshkova, Vostok 6. Vostok 6 on display at the London Museum. And this is her Hero of the Soviet Union. And this is Assembly of Vostok 6. Thank you.